Welcome back to the Build Challenge Echo. This is part 2, and so in this video we're going to go over the next 7 builds that were submitted to my Challenge Echo, and we'll get the results. And the next build is the Dodge Power Wagon. So this is a really cool thumbnail. I like this a lot. A lot of branding in here, a lot of detail. I really like that. You know, picked a good location for it, took the frame off, really good work on that. Nice pictures here. I'm digging the pictures. Little story in the pictures is cool. Very cool. So I like showing the vehicle. That kind of brings you in, lets you see what it should look like or what your inspiration was. Always nice. This is by Vanders. It is the Dodge Power Wagon, model year 1954. Specifications and features: 6-cylinder Pat diesel engine, Pat transmission, top speed 90 miles an hour, 5-gear manual transmission, 4-wheel drive, 16-gallon fuel capacity with refueling port, interior light, headlights and reverse light, 1 passenger seat, equipment storage behind driver's seat, rope storage in both doors, front winch, rope connections only, control at driver's door, hitch on off, switch on rear bumper, tailgate, latch labeled. 31.9, it's fully refurbished classic, and stretched HUD pieces ain't cheap. Startup and driving procedure: enter the vehicle using the driver's side door, latch button indicated with darker paint. That's nice to see. Start engine with 6 on seat, allow engine increase RPS. Release park brake 1 on seat. Use up down on seat to put into gear. Starts in neutral. Use WS on seat. Additional information: built for Captain Cockrell's Build Challenge Echo. Link there. That's nice to see. Submissions: thumbnails based on a Power Wagon advertisement in that time period. That's cool. If you enjoy this creation, please consider giving a thumbs up and share. Credit. Look at this. Nice credits here and links to everybody's system. So that's really nice to see all of those credited properly. So let's go ahead and take a look at the build. And here we are with the Power Wagon. So really nice look on this. You know, these Dodge Power Wagons really kind of iconic looking, look really cool. So interesting to see how you did this. Looks like this has got to be a stretched HUD. You know, this is one thing I wish the devs would do, is look at what people are doing to XML and be like, oh, that's low-hanging fruit. We could put in a nice flat panel for people to use. That would be nice, devs. And maybe a half block. So really good work on that. That merges up really well. You see, there's a little bit of flash there, but not bad. Like, you know, you step away, it's not drawing the eye right to it. So it's nice and subtle, you know, XML work there. A little bit of flashiness up there, but not too bad. I like the exposed radiator, winch, big chonky bumper in here. You know, it looks really good in here. There's some good work in here to make it look, you know, like it's chonky. What is this? Electric motor. Let's hope those electric motors aren't driving anything. I don't think they are now. It just looks like the drive shaft. It looks like the transfer case for the 4-wheel drive. So yeah, you can see it's not connected. That's the pipe up there connected, but you know, that looks to be like the transfer case for these, and I assume it's piping into there for the drive. So very cool. More work here in the back with some HUDs. HUDs are the most famous XML part, it appears, for obvious reasons. Again, devs, we want a flat block. Nice fake mirrors here. You know, of course, it'd be great if they gave us a mirror block. That would be really awesome. You know, in Farm and Sim, they used to have, it was like a reflective plate, and you could put it in. But that's cool work there. I've never seen that particular use before, but that looks nice. I like that. You know, like stuff like that really XMLs well, and it's not too garish. See a little bit different coloring there on the button to kind of show us where it is. I really like this. This came out nice. So it would have been stamped metal with the Dodge logo. We have a little tailgate latch there with a very subtle arrow, so that's cool. Really, really nice wood decking in here. It's done with, looks like paint blocks and some fake tracking in there. Looks like some hard points. I don't know if you have any modules for that. It's active or not, but that's hidden really nicely in there. Nice fake license plate there with some gibberish. You know, it looks good. What's this? Hitch connection. Using this type of connector is a little bit different. Very interesting. So, you know, some good work on this. Really good shaping, as you can see. It looks good. It has great shaping on there. We have a hose anchor there. There's our hidden button. Let's take a look at passenger while we're here. So as you can see, another painted section here. It's nice and subtle. Looks like a glove box, some open glove box there. A little bit of light. Often, especially at night, it's tough to drive in there. There's a cool seat here. So what do we have? Tank. We have some wedges. Looks like a door panel corner going into an XML microcontroller, most likely. So that's some really cool work on that. So some really good XML work in here. It's nice and subtle. It's not flashing too badly. There's equipment behind the seat. Back windows usable for reversing. That's nice. Have rope in the door for the winches. There was something else there. Let's look. We have winch out and in, as they said was by the door. Park brake is illuminated to show on. Good work here on the dash. You know, this looks natural. You know, it flows around, goes into glove boxes. I like that. Seat looks really good. I liked all that detailing on the seat. You know, good way to hide that pipe. You know, some people it was kind of sticking out. That pipe's sitting there and it's hidden, you know, pretty well. We have engine temp, RPM, battery, fuel level, gallons, and speedo and miles per hour. It's good to see units again, just kind of so everybody knows where we're at. 80 steering, WS throttle, up, down, shift, gear, space horn. Big old horn. Parking brake is 1. We'll release that. Headlights are 2. Let's take a look at the old headlights. Nice. Let's go ahead and start up the engine. Alright, good. So engine's on. Let's go in reverse. So we got a reverse light, which is nice. Alright, nice. We have those are our brake lights there. Those are nice. Let's go for a drive, you poo. So it feels like a big, you know, lifted truck. It doesn't feel like a car. Like, you know, it's not oversteering like here. I'm going 80, 80, 80, 80, 80, 80, 80, 80 right now, and it's not all over the place, you know. Downshift, it feels like a truck. You know, that's one of the things I want to see from the trucks was that they behave like trucks, you know. They shouldn't feel like a sports car, you know. Especially for the period, they were very kind of lumbering. You know, they had the same probably terrible 4-speed transmissions in them that a lot of the cars had, you know, but just weighed even more. You know, but really drives well. Has good sight lines here. We'll back up. Seeing this as a nice window. What are these? Okay, they're handles. So little hand grabs there, so that's nice. So reverses really well, good visibility looking out the back, so it's usable, you know. Sometimes you get some show pieces that aren't terribly usable, like this, as you can see, back right where I want it. And I slammed on the brakes, and it did not do the stall thing, the stall sound. It's essentially just a restart. When it gets below a point, it restarts. So likely it was tuned in, but like if you notice on here, it still has that flat top, but it has a little bit of curve here. That tends to take some of the curse out of it. I like that. Really cool. This is shaped very well. You know, I think that you did a great job on the shaping here, getting the fenders to look well. It has huge tires. This would be really fun as an off-road vehicle. I like the work you did with the drive shaft. You know, it took me a second to realize what that was all about, but it looks like the transfer case to go to a 4-wheel drive. So that's really cool. Some good work on that. So I really like this build, and we'll move on to the next one. And the next build is the Two Palms C.V.H. So I have a thumbnail here. But, you know, personally, I like to not see this vehicle on there. I think it detracts. You know, you saw how, like, Chicken Sword did a really good job of, like, integrating that and changing it and using that template to kind of make it their own. That's kind of, I like that. That's kind of nice. It's not the end of the world, but you saw, like, for example, the last one had a lot of detailing based on an ad. You know, so those are the ones that are kind of the top ones that we're seeing. Some really nice pictures here. I'm really liking this. This one I've been waiting to try. This one's a little bit different. It has a rear engine. So this is by York. The off-roader you didn't know you needed. The Two Palms C.V.H. or cabriolet vehicle hunting. Are we hunting for vehicles or are we hunting for something in the cabriolet? Is the best vehicle in its class for the job. Small, reliable, nimble, and ready to tackle any terrain in front of it. This vehicle sports a mighty boxer 6-piston engine that roars up to 188 kilometers an hour on an all-wheel drive frame. courtesy of Captain Cockrell's vehicle chassis. Link to that further down. Lore. I should establish that Two Palms is a completely fictional company that specializes in vehicles for civilian and military use. Two Palms, being a smaller manufacturer, was looking to improve sales post-World War II, but a lack of military contracts meant there was not much for the little company to do, so they turned their heads towards the civilian market. Taking inspiration from other manufacturers, such as the Coupe Wagon, Willys, Jeep, and Porsche 597, they built the vehicle around the same ideas. It wouldn't sell all too much because it wasn't exactly pretty and simply was not as popular of a manufacturer when compared to its competitors in both continents. Yes, this is an in-lore excuse why I can't build. That's good. But it would be enough to keep the company afloat from when it entered production in 53 to when it was finally pulled from production in 59. The vehicle was offered to many countries as a replacement for their aging vehicles of similar dynamic, and some countries were interested in arming said vehicles, but it would never actually receive a contract from any government. Lore breaks. If you want me to make military version of this thing, let me know. It'll be done to the best of my ability. So good lore post there. I like that. It gives a little story. It helps to flesh out the workshop page. Like, if I was not doing this for a challenge and I read a story like that, I want to keep reading, Startup. Startup in this vehicle is relatively simple. All that has to be done is press 6 keybind and then allow the engine to reach 100 RPS before entering first gear. You can rev the engine to get there faster. To shift gears, use up-down axis to shift up and down respectively. With the auto clutch, you really don't have to wait. You can hammer it, and the auto clutch is not going to clutch until it gets the right torque. Controls, keybinds, WS accelerator, AD steering, up, down, gear shift, max 5, 0 neutral, and reverse. Spacebar is handbrake on a toggle. Left indicator lights, right indicator lights, horn, spotlight will track head movement. That's interesting. Start, stop, engine, physical controls. The main switches can be found on the left of the dash, next to the A-pillar, headlights, high beams. Convert ragtop, opens boot, make sure ragtop is up before opening. So that's an interesting feature. We'll have to check that out. Features, top speed around 188 kilometers an hour on a 5-speed transmission, a rear-mounted boxer 6-piston engine, front-mounted fuel tank holding, that's a lot of fuel, 276 liters of fuel wheel, all-wheel drive chassis, port for battery, tender in case the battery dies, simple horn, ragtop canopy that can be raised and lowered at a flick of the button, left of steering column, fully functional headlights, taillights, indicator lights, hit bolt together for hazards, and a spotlight that follows your line of sight, mainly to mimic handheld spotlights with all that clunky work that we require to make it button controlled. Simple electrical connector, trailer hitch. Note that you'll have to grab the hitch to release it, but it can work with RGB taillights. Cool. Rifle compartment in the back of the vehicle to store firearms since there is no trunk space, solid steel frame, and no roll cage. This thing is a box and it knows it. Notes. The first thing to establish is this vehicle is built for Captain Cockrell's Build Challenge Echo, which was to build a 1950s-style vehicle using chassis given out by Captain himself and to keep the chassis completely stock. While my version may look different because its rear engine and everything is still stock, simply repositioned. That being said, it did come with some small flaws. While it's still controllable, the vehicle does become a little uncontrollable at its top speed. Well, everything does. I should also specify that it had nothing to do with the Captain's chassis. Amazing, it's just been changed to a very short wheelbase car with rear engine, which is naturally unstable. At maximum speed, the ragtop will lift up if it's deployed, but isn't too much of a problem. I'm actively working to find a solution for it, but may not come in time for the challenge. The C.V.H can charge its battery at regular speed, but if left to sit around for too long, it will die, so keep an eye on the battery dial where the glove box would be. Since the vehicle is older, 1950s, and because I wasn't sure if it was violating the rules by using this thing's brakes can be rough, so if you're slowing down, I recommend either shifting down or hitting handbrake if you absolutely need it. Yep, you should be shifting down anyways. That's part of proper procedure, is always being in the appropriate gear. You shouldn't be trying to stop in 5th gear. You should be going brakes, 5th to 4th, brakes, 4 to 3, brakes, 3 to 2, brakes. 2 to 1 brakes, and if it's a synchronized transmission, which this would be, you don't need to come off the brakes. Credit goes to 2 items, which are the following. Again, nice to see credit on there, and ZE Wheel Gyro. Two Palms appreciates your time and hopes that you enjoy this vehicle. We have a lovingly made for you. So really cool workshop page. I like the lore a lot. Well set up. You could have all this lore and not be formatted well. This is also formatted well. For example, if you're not interested in the lore, you can skip that. You can go right to startup. It's easy to find the controls. If I forget something, I can easily come back. So really well set up. Nice, indented lists here and frames. You know, the only thing that let it down a little bit was this frame, but again, that's personal preference. Again, you're competing against your competitors. Some people had really extraordinary frames. Again, it's not much, but this was a really well done workshop page. So we'll move on to the review. All right, here we are with the C.V.H. So already looks some really cool detailing on here. You know, really well shaped. I like this. It kind of there was a Volkswagen that looked kind of like this that I really like, and I had this this ribbing. It was corrugated like that for strength. Is kind of cool. I like that. It's rear engine, so you have some space to kind of screw around with the front here, which is nice. Big fuel tank. I like the spare tire a lot. The brakes are not on, so I got to make sure I don't push it off into the drinky poo. Really cool detailing on this. I like the little exhaust with the light. That looks really cool for the spotlight. A little bit. I wonder if you meant to do this. It says in the workshop page just C.V.H. This looks like C.H.V. So you might want to look at that if that's not what it's intended. It's really cool to have the rag top. I'll try to stop it from rolling too far. Cool bumper here using the scoops. So that's kind of cool. Scoops on the end as bumpers. Kind of neat. I like to see that. Rear engine. Very interested in the rag top. Here is, there's a really cool way to do this. XML the pipe through the transponder locators. It looks like it's roped on for a shovel or a hatchet. So really cool. Some lights on the side. What's this? Rifle compartment. That's really cool. I like that feature. We won't be shooting today, but that's pretty cool to have a rifle compartment. It is, you know, the lore was saying it's for hunting. So really cool here. Has the engine in the back like so. A little bit of exhaust going out there. Refueling anchor. Hook up battery. Tender in order to recharge battery. Very cool. So it's definitely different, and it's you know, it's neat to be different. Let's see. We have the open boot. Make sure ragtop is up before opening. Okay, convert ragtop. So very cool there. I like that. You know, it's very neat. I like that a lot. That's pretty cool. You know, it's always neat when somebody can get a convertible, and I really like Mr. G's convertible. I really like this one. It's neat to see some convertibles. And then we can open the boot, as you can see. So there is the access for the engine. So it's cool. This is different. You know, this person took some risks with design, and you know, a bunch of them paid off here. Like that's a really slick top, and you know, I like the kind of off-roady nature of this. High beams, headlights. So let's see if the headlights are on. Okay, so they run just globes for that. Okay, good. So we have fuel in liters, temp, RPM, gear indicator, dial. This just says dial. You know, I assume it's speedo, but it would be nice to see it with a value in it. Clock, battery. So those are a little bit, you know, those are a little bit excessive there. I don't know why you'd put them huge like that. Clock's fine. Battery is kind of like, that's a little bit big and cumbersome, but, you know, that's personal preference. Little shift knob, a seat here. Bring up the H menu. Steering AD, WS accelerator, up, down, shift gear. Space is handbrake. That's a toggle, so we'll turn that on. Left is the left indicator. So let's see. We have no indicator light in the back. That's fine. You know, that's where your rifle is. You know, so you can't really see it. If you put RGBs back here, you could have done them on the RGBs. You could have made these RGBs flash, or even make that red flash, but not the end of the world. You know, you have them on the side, so it's kind of a neat feature. On the right, and then do both of them for hazards there. Okay, cool. Horn. All right, spotlight. So spotlight's neat. So we'll do it with while we're in here. So spotlight, as you can see, it moves with our head. That's a neat feature there. I like that. That's kind of cool. All right, so we'll go ahead and shut that off, and 6 to start her up. All right, I have the brake off now, and we're in gear. So, yep, that looks like a Speedo. It would be cool if you just put the units in there. So a little bit, steers a little bit fast. You know, you'd imagine something this size would steer a little bit slower. You know, but, you know, it seems like you like to take it fast, so. Yeah, you know, a little bit slippery. You know, I don't know if you gripped up the tires, but, you know, that was allowed. Probably give it a little bit better performance. But it handles pretty well. You know, it's a little bit, definitely touchy. Like, look at this. Like, I'm not, that's just like, it's a little bit, it's not all that stable. You know, like, one of the things I've been doing is kind of a backup test. If I can handle it backwards and not have it scare the hell out of me, we're in good shape. I can't really see back there, but, you know, so definitely it's got a little bit of a handling issue with steering. I would say decrease that steering a little bit. Not bad by any stretch of imagination, but really cool. I love the detailing. It's definitely different. You know, you took some risks with this, which is nice. I like the convertible top. I like that you went with the rear engine's interesting and different. You know, these were around World War II. You know, the Volkswagens that looked very similar to this, so it certainly, you know, it works within the period fine. But some interesting stuff on here. You know, the difference between the headlights is interesting. Personally, what I would have done is use the new composite feature to tip the beams up. You know, you're not, but that's all personal preference there. But really cool vehicle, and I enjoyed checking it out. And the next vehicle is the Jaguar XK140. So, like to see this frame gone. As you can see, it goes over your XK140 here. So, you know, that would be kind of nice to get rid of this frame just so you can see the XK140 a little bit better. But cool thumbnail. I like that. You know, composite in the background with the branding on there is really cool. I like your pictures here. It's quick. It's classic. It's British. It's a Jag. So really cool. All the different interior color combinations is kind of cool. I like that. This is by Muffin. And so this is made for the July 23rd Captain Cockerell's Build Challenge Echo. Hit the road in the all-new Roadster by Muffin, a mostly faithful recreation of the 1955 Jaguar XK140 with a supercharged 6-cylinder engine, 5-speed, plus reverse transmission, capable of over 95 miles an hour. Refillable 187-liter fuel tank, automatic turn signals, and centrally located slide-out ashtray. They liked to smoke back then. This fine automobile will take you and a second companion of your choosing across the Sawyer and Arid Islands in style. Driving the XK is simple. Seat button 6 will activate the ignition. Forward and back arrows shift gears. Forward and back arrows. Up, down, I assume. We'll see. W, hit the gas. S, brake. While AD steers, button 1 and 2 will open the hood and trunk respectively, while 3 activates a convenient interior light. Center console contains switches for the headlights and parking brake, as well as the ashtray button. Refueling electrical ports are located in the trunk. Try not to spill for safety and your continued drive enjoyment. A fire extinguisher and welding torch are located beneath the doors. You are encouraged to familiarize yourself with the locations prior to crashing. We at Muffin Design Bureau have also included a squatch block on the underside of the vehicle containing a selection of classic paint options with 6 exterior and 3 interior colors. Painting the car is simple as selecting your color using the Replace Color tool anywhere on the body and around the turn signal located at the front. Engine gearbox along with a microcontroller sourced from, there we go, per the terms of the build challenge. All of the components created by Muffin. No XML editing used. So that's nice to see somebody not XML editing. Again, you're open to do it, but every once in a while I like to see somebody who doesn't do it because that kind of shows you, you know, everybody has the same tools in their toolbox. That's why sometimes I allow it, sometimes I don't. It gives everybody the same tools in their toolbox, and you can really see the creativity with that. So let's go ahead and check out the build. All right, here we are with the XK140. So first thing I kind of noticed is it's really striking shape. You know, these were really cool looking. You know, you did a great job at recreating that. The 50s were really iconic for really cool shapes. You know, they kind of went overboard with it. And, you know, there's really big flares on here and a really cool hood. And I think you did a great job with that. It looks really cool. And I like that you didn't use any XML pieces. Of course, you know, it was allowed. But the thing is, you know, you restricted yourself to the tools that everybody has. And so that's kind of a cool little self-restriction there. Let's go ahead and look around. So nice lines on this. You know, really good shaping on this. Kind of, you know, a little bit basic, but it has really cool lines. And so I think, you know, to keep those lines, you really can't do too much with probably opening hoods and stuff like that to kind of keep the look and the lines of it to work. Because, of course, the hood would probably open up in here, IRL. So, you know, none of that was required. Of course, I really love these tiny doors. And you can tell the pivots are, I can actually see them. They're right there. So that's kind of a neat door there. They come out like that because the pivot's further in. I like the interior color. That's really cool. You know, this is a fun shape and design here. So let's go ahead. We have a little shift knob there. We have a passenger. Let's see, RPM, gear, uh, engine temp, fuel, and miles per hour. We have headlights. Let's take a look. So there are headlights. Let's tap the brakes. Brake lights come on. Nice. We have ashtray. That was, we're told that comes out, so I want to see where that comes out. Okay, that's pretty neat. That's a that's a Roknmatoz. That's a fun feature. I like that. Put your ash in there. Parking brake. So here's parking brake on. As you can see, parking brake's on. And we can take that back off. All right, go ahead and start her up. And let's check the H menu. Steering, gas brake, up, down, is shift, horn, space. Trunk is 2. Oh, we do have a trunk. I remember we had them, but I couldn't see the seams. So, nice little trunk there. I imagine the real one probably has a tiny little trunk. Fueling and power in there with a light. So, we'll close the old trunkaroni. And let's see, which one was hood? Hood is 1. So, I do remember that from the instructions. Well, that's neat. By putting the long nose in there, it made it so that, you know, you could easily kind of move things around in interesting shapes. So, I like that. But really cool shape on this. It has a neat shape to it. All right, so let's go ahead and we have 3 for the interior light. All right, cool. So I think I saw it somewhere under there. So really cool. Let's go ahead and we'll take off the parking brake is off. Shift in a gear. I don't need the headlight, so we'll shut that off. So it drives nicely. You know, again, this is a car. You know, it has a little bit more responsive steering because it's a car. You know, it's not as heavy. Should expect that, kind of having that more of a responsive steering. So, if, you know, car should feel like a car. Truck should feel like a truck. This feels like a car. Downshift. I don't really need, personally, the shift indicator. I know what gear I'm in. But that's just comes with practice. Little bit, you know, it could probably use a little bit of a stability system on its steering, but it's not bad. You know, it's steers pretty good. You know, I imagine you get a little bit wiggly here and there, but drives really nice. It's pretty comfortable. Again, I would probably put a little stability system on there if there is not. You know, reverse. So this is a fun build. You know, it's cool to see one that you know, where somebody didn't do any XMLing in there. And it's really, you know, it's kind of classic cool like these Jaguars were. I think that's really cool, the swatch on there where you can just quickly grab the colors and do color swap it to whatever you want. That's a neat idea. I like that. But really cool car. I enjoyed checking it out. And the next build is the Dodge M37. So tough jobs require tough trucks. Nice black and white picture. Nice branding on there. Again, I'd like to see this vehicle gone. You know, you had something down here. I can't read it because that's covered. You know, the picture's here, but again, this is really cool. Like, if you look at this, this is a really cool picture, and I would like to see all of this. And so, you know, one of the reasons why I pick on this little vehicle frame here is, one, it's very garish, but like, you did some cool work here. You put by Dagger Industries and Pat Motors, M37. You know, that's a really cool picture, and I would love to see that as a thumbnail. You know, if you go in the workshop, you're not going to see that as a workshop thumbnail. You're going to see this. So, you know, I recommend go on there, look at one of the guides to quickly get rid of this. And I think this picture is great, man. I would love to see this picture in the workshop. This one, it kind of, you know, it's not as drawing because it, you know, you have this nice black and white, and you have this yellow, this yellow triangle there. It doesn't really go with the aesthetic, and this covers some of your writing you put down here. So I would look into getting rid of that picture, you know, or getting rid of that frame. So this is a great picture. I really like it. This is cool, like going over the all-terrain track. Looks like, does it have, it looks like it has wishbone suspension on it, double wishbones on it. Or, I don't know if they're necessarily, no, it wouldn't be wishbones that era. It would have been just, I forget what are they, cantilever suspension or something. But really cool. Again, I love to see these reference pictures. They're really cool, man. They show what inspired you, which I think is a lot of fun. So this is by Nate303. This is the Dodge M37 military pickup, an unlicensed reproduction of the M37, 1951 by Dagger Industries, CNC department, classic and contraptions. That's neat. I like to see the branding. Powered by the F6 six-cylinder supercharged boxer engine and a 5M5 speed manual transmission by Pat Motors. Can carry up to 10 people, one driver, one radio operator, 8 passengers. Oh, that's good carry capacity. It's also equipped with a very reliable and amazing SD-C compact VHF radio from a third-party contractor that was never tested. Made for Captain McCockerell's Build Challenge Echo, 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 Echo. Controls: AD is steering, WS is accel brake, left right is winch in and out, up down shift gears, space is the handbrake. I just put on there if it's toggle. I assume it's toggle, but you know, you'll get the questions by somebody like, I can't get the, is the handbrake that? So it's always nice to be a little clear on that, but I'm assuming it's toggle. One is horn, 6 start, stop the engine. Links, again, very nice to see links on there for everybody's stuff you guys used. That means a lot to those people who contribute to your builds. So that's really nice to see that. Disclaimer, this vehicle might require high physics in order for the suspension to work properly. So yeah, it definitely looked like from this picture, I could kind of tell it looked like you had a custom suspension job. I always run high, so that shouldn't be a problem. So let's go ahead and take a look at the build. So here we are with the Dodge M37. So really nice detailing work on here. This is cool having, paint blocks to extend the grill out and then having an air intake there. That's some neat work there so you can see in the grill and then kind of cover it or continue it through. That's neat. Looks like panel edges in the bumper. Again, that's another neat thing. I could see myself using that sometime. That's a really neat way to do that. We have winch controls there. Really cool. So we'll go do a standard walk around here. Nice door seaming there. So I haven't thought to do that. Just put these panel edges on that. But that's really cool, man. That adds a cool seam. I might have to do that on some stuff. It works fine with these darker builds. For example, some of the lighter builds, it may not work great, but that's a cool, that goes really well with this. It lights, gives it that little bit of a seam so you know where the door is. I really like that a lot. I might have to use that on some of my stuff. Door frame edges here is a good way to do a step. It's actually a physicalized step you can get on. I like that a lot. Has the cross for a, if this was used for medical use. Here's your custom suspensiones that you were talking about there. Refueling port there. This is one reason why I like to put parking brake release. It's not a huge deal, but as you can see, they do roll around until you put it on. Nice detailing back here. You have the cross for the medic. This is cool here. Again, having those door frame edges. Looks like you have all your lighting there. These buttons are a little garish, but not the end of the world. I don't know. This is the hitch. Trying to see if you could hide it somewhere here. Kind of tough. You don't have to hide these things, but sometimes they're a little garish. But this is a military work truck, so you'd have big exposed handles. Not a big deal. I tend to like to hide them because I think they're a little bit, because they're have so much contrast. But really nice detailing in here on the floor. I like the side rails there to make sure people aren't falling out. A lot of good seating in here. Little jerry can here. That's interesting. How did you get that stuck in there without it? So is it just stuck in there? That's kind of neat, man, having a jerry can. Yeah, so you just kind of jam that in there. That's really cool, man. There have been a bunch of people on like Steam and Reddit asking for, in-game jerry can. You can make your own jerry cans pretty reliably. And as you can see with this one, it just sits there. I just grabbed a rope from outside. That's the hitch. Is that the hitch? Yeah, it's the hitch. So the hitch okay, it's a double-sided, rotates with the door. So that's cool. I took this rope off here. So that's a design element there. I'll put that back. I like your whip. Nice. So this has a good aesthetic to it. I really like that door frame edge. That's really cool. I always love to see what people do with door frames, especially. Here's your VHF. So that's cool. Have the VHF sitting in there. A lot of seating in here. It looks like a military vehicle. Looks pretty basic, and it has the flat glass on there, which is thematically correct, so it works. Nice to see a mirror on there. The mirror is backwards. I do this myself sometimes. As you can see, the further away section is the side of the vehicle, and the nearer section is the outside. So either the camera needs to be inverted or the monitor needs to be inverted. Generally, you'd want to do the camera. But as you can see, that's inverted. So just a little thing on that. Again, you don't lose any points for anything like that, but that's just something to look at. That's cool. I haven't, that's another neat use of those empty containers to kind of give it a little space above there. You can put some more stuff in there. So nice to see the motor, nice and snuggly in there. That's cool. I like that. Now let's close that. Handbrake is the spacebar as stated in the directions. A gear indicator. Let's see what else we have here. We have lights. So there are lights. Nice. Let's do brakes. Okay, brake. It appears. So we have running lights up top. It looks like the right side brake. Do we have a right side brake? Is not coming on. So not a big deal. I would just go ahead and look at that. Yeah, it looks like your right side brake indicator is out. Potentially, whoever was driving this last backed it into something. So we have battery, temp, MPH, fuel, RPM, and we have a couple more tools there. Nice high roof on here. Personally, what I would do is I would probably drop that roof down one. It's already a tall vehicle. And on those rails in the back, I would drop those down one. It would give it a little bit more of a little bit lower of a profile. It's already a big vehicle. It might look too squashed that way, but it's kind of up to you. But that's looks a little tall to me, but that's it is what it is. It's still a cool vehicle. Let's see. Let's bring up the H menu. So we have steering, AD, accelerators, WS, left, right's winch in and out, up, down is shift, space, handbrake, 1 is horn, and 6 will start her up. And I'm gonna go shut the lights off. We don't need those. Handbrake's coming off. Shift into 1, and let's get getting. So it it doesn't, like, I'm going back and forth. It doesn't feel crazy on the steering. Oh. Did a little jump on me there. It could be the suspension, just as I made that turn. So downshift here as we come up to the turn. Now I'll give it the beans through here. You had that special suspension on there, so. Little bit, stability is, whoa. Stability is a little bit off, man. Like, I'm purposely trying to, like, I'm going back and forth. I highly recommend putting in a steering stability system like I have in there. It's really simple. You just put in angular speed as your process variable. You put in your seat to the set point, and then you put in a p-value. I think mine's like a 0.75 or lower. And what that does is it helps you not do that where you end up sliding all over town. So a little bit of a hit on handling stability there. It's probably part of this suspension system. Like, the game likes to screw around with suspension, but you can kind of see it's squatty. So this is probably great at going over. Oh, that's why. Okay, so you're using your brake as a reverse light. So I see what you're doing there. So that works. But yeah, handling could use a little bit of some love here. So, like, I'll try to go off road a little bit here and try to get crazy for a second. But handling could use a little love there. Just you put that one of those steering controllers on there, you'd be kind of amazed at how it makes it operate a little bit better. And you can always cut down the p-value, and it won't be as much of a nanny if you want to, still the ability to kind of like get crazy. But okay, it looks like it's also like because of that suspension, it's kind of bottoming out. So it's one of the reasons I don't put suspension on a game sometimes. Is it? And I'm running high physics, so it's not bad, but, this could probably handle some really good jumps, but as you can see, it's kind of bucky, and that's making it a little bit tough, so, I can see it took a little bit of a chance with that suspension, but, it makes the handling a little bit tough, but really cool vehicle. I like it a lot. And the next build is the British Army truck. So, again, we have that frame on here. Again, you're competing against the other competitors, so you notice how, like, some people had some really cool thumbnails here that had, branding and stories and all sorts of cool things. It was kind of like a brochure for a car. So, you're facing them in the competition, so it's nice to have that. And also, if you want people to click on your build and to subscribe to it, you really want to catch them with this, Nice black and white showing the era. The issue with black and white is you really can't tell the detail as much. Like, this looks really cool. You did a really cool job with the paint. I would personally put something more like this on there as a thumbnail. I like the black and whites as, the era, but it really doesn't sell me the vehicle, But that's a really cool picture. I like this picture. There, it's fording some water, and I really like to see the inspiration for it. That's really cool here. So it's by Seeney. If I pronounce anyone's name wrong, just stick a message in there. Inspiration from the Austin K9, early 1950s truck used by the Army and RAF. Instructions: seat controls. 1, headlight. P is park brake, or 2 is park brake rather. 6, start, stop engine, up, down, and shift gear. Specs: 42 miles an hour, 375 liters, 2245 kilograms, 7.5 meters long, 2.75 wide, 3 high. Max RPS is 11. Passenger seats is 9, and it's 14,177, and nice to see the link for the chassis. So we'll go ahead and we'll check out the build. All right, here we are with the British military truck. So I'm liking the shape of it. You know, it has both that square and rounded 1950 style to it. Not a huge fan of these things like these little latches here visible. It just kind of, you know, you had a nice green color aesthetic here, and then this kind of pushes it off. So it's nice when you can hide those types of things. You know, for example, yeah, you probably struggle to keep that, start with the hood open. But a little bit of exposed radiator there. Looks a little bit out of place, but it's not bad. Nice detailing here with the fenders. Like the way the fenders integrate to the hood is really cool. I like that. There's some good shaping in here. I like that a lot. You know, so you did some good work with that. I like it how the fenders go over the tires like that. That's nice. Good detailing there. Let's see, mirrors there. Fuel tank kind of sticks out, but you know, sometimes I struggle to hide those things. I like this tan line here. That really you know, offsets this tenting. You know, like somebody else had a tent. I really like the tent on the back of this. We have some lighting there. I like your bumper. Your bumper came out nice there. So what is it, a 1x2 and then a 1x1 on that side? That's a nice way to do it. It looks pretty cool. This is cool. Everybody's sitting in the tenting. They have kind of like their own little space between the ribs for the tenting. So nice detailing in there. I like that a lot. So really cool. I like the looks like a horn on the top there. You know, the pipe looks a little bare, and you could do something like an air cooler there would, I think, help with a little bit of the look of that, but it looks pretty good. Let's check in the hood, the bonnet. So that's cool. Like to be able to look in the engine, that's cool. Just if there's somewhere you could hide that button, I just think it would be a little bit better just for aesthetics. You know, maybe even have a pop in the truck itself. It's British. I forgot. It's British. British. We got to get on the British side here. So nice. Let's go ahead and jump in. I like you know, the cockpit feels a little bit cramped, which I like. You know, it feels like you're actually in the proper cockpit. This center pedestal, you know, I would personally put one piece of glass across. It really kind of encloses us probably a little bit too much. You know, this mirror is correct, as you can see. This one is inverted again, so you want to have the truck on this side and the exterior on that one. So not a big deal, but that just needs to be, most likely, that camera needs to be inverted. Temp, fuel level, engine RPS, speedo. All right, let's go to the H menu. Shift gear up, down, headlight, parking brake, start, stop. So let's turn on the lights. So, do we have any running lights? Nope, no running lights, but we have brake lights. We have some headlights there. They're not overly bright, which I like. Let's go ahead and park brake is 2, so it may be off. We'll see in a second. Let's see if we have any directionals or anything. It didn't. I don't think it said anything, so we won't screw around with it. But I didn't see anything on directionals there, so we won't play with that too much. Let's go ahead and hit 6. Alright, we'll test if the parking brake's on. If we can go, parking brake's not on. Alright, seems like the parking brake's on. So I would put park brake release on there if it starts on. That just tells people it's already on, but that's a nitpick. But I really like the shape of the hood is really good. This feels like a big, heavy truck. It doesn't feel like a car. It feels like it should. You know, you have to anticipate your moves with a truck. Again, I would get rid of that center pedestal. It's just a little excessively blinding. You already have these large pedestals here. And with your mirror, all of this is blind spot. Trucks can get these huge blind spots as it is. Like this is all blind spot. So I would just get rid of this because that is just, you know, even adding to the blind spot even more. But this drives really well. It feels like a truck. I really like that. I would index this gauge. See how we're going past? Your maximum speed should be right here. Your minimum speed should be right here. The gauge should not be going past its maximum. You know, so I would work on indexing your gauge here. This gauge is not indexed, so whatever your max speed is, I would put that as your maximum value. Then you actually know, okay, that's, you know, say 50, that's 40, 30, 20, 10, you know, you kind of know where you're at. So I would personally do that. But nice, it didn't make the start sound, which again, if you just change the zeroing, you know, it's in my microcontroller. You can set when it will zero the clutch, and if the clutch zeroes early enough, when you hit the brakes, what's happening is the brake is stopping the engine because the clutch is still engaged. So if you change that number like this person maybe did, it will make it so it doesn't do that restart sound. But the mirrors are nice. I can, as you can see, big square truck, and I was easily able to get it right where it was supposed to be. So that's really cool. But looks really great. I would personally, I would change up that workshop picture, get rid of the frame. I would also put one with some color. You did a great job with the coloring. I would put your best foot forward. You did a great job with shaping the hood and the coloration, so I would definitely run with that. But this was a really cool vehicle, and I enjoyed checking it out. And the next vehicle is the M53 Scout. So again, very basic picture on here. Again, you know, you're competing against your fellow competitors here, so they had some really good thumbnails, so that takes you down a little bit here. I would, again, get rid of the frame, do a little bit of branding on here. Kind of, you know, this is the first thing people are going to see when you post something in the workshop. Very limited on pictures here. We have a very zoomed out, looks like a screenshot of a monitor there. And another very interesting picture here, way zoomed out. You know, so not much in the way of that. We have Blast Pringles. The M53 Scout was based off the Willys M38. It was created for Captain Cockerel's Build Challenge Echo. How to use: press 6 to start, stop the engine, and use WS to throttle up and down. Press up, down to shift gear. On the bottom left side of the driver's seat, you can turn off backlights. Turn off backlights. So I don't know if it's turn off backlights or turn on backlights. It's either a missing N or an F, so I'm not sure. Open hood and fold the windshield. Features: foldable windshield, openable hood, winch in front bumper, cable, hose, and rope and truck bed, radio and passenger seat. That may not work. Top speed 80 miles an hour or 128 in normal measurement. Lol. Fuel 50 gallons. I like it how you say that it's 80 miles an hour and then 128 normal measurement, and then you go back to imperial for the gallons. Weight, and then back to metric for the weight, and dollar dues for the cost. You're missing your credits. Remember, that's my chassis, so it should be credited in here as it says on the chassis page. So again, missing that on there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the build. All right, so here we are with the M53 Scout. So branded U.S. Army. Have a winch in the front, some winch controls there, a painted grill. A little bit monochromatic, but as is the military's way. A lot of weight blocks in there. Open all around. Let's see, right there, that opens up the tail. That's kind of neat. I like that. We have some ropage, some equipment there, a couple rearward facing seats. So a little bit basic on design here, you know, just a little bit of things. For example, like, you know, you have a plate on there and stuff. What is this? That looks like a pintle connector there. You know, a little bumper. You saw like a lot of your competitors had bumpers on there. This is a little bit of a basic bumper, but like, you know, make the bumper a different color, widen it out in front of the tires. You don't want to blow your tires, so you generally want to put the bumper out to protect the tires. So just little things like that. Let's go ahead and jump in. So we have the TAC, the engine temp, speedo, fuel in gallons, battery. We have the, I can't read that. Won't read for some reason. Let's see. Distance to empty, transmitting, receiving. So look, that's the radio. Just go ahead and jump in here. Handbrake 1. So it looks like it starts off. We have the fold windshield. So that's why the windshield's sitting a little close to us, is for the folding option, which is neat. They used to be able to fold them in the Jeep's backlight. Hood. So can't fold the hood with the windshield. So that's something that personally what I would do is if you're going to fold the hood up, I would make it so that it automatically will fold this back up. That would just be kind of a little safety thing. You know, if your hood, you know, going up 90 degrees is a little weird. Maybe a little bit of a cant on that, but a little bit of folding hood there. Let's go ahead and we will close the hood, and I think we'll ride with the windshield down. We'll eat some bugs on our way. So headlights is 2. So we have some headlights. We have running lights there, as you can see. No brake lights, no directionals. So a little bit basic on that compared to your other competitors. Not the end of the world. We'll take the handbrake off, start the engine up. All right, and shift it into gear, and let's go. So kind of Willie's Jeep. I like the folding windshield. That's a neat feature. Handles pretty well. It's, you know, it's slow, but like, you know, during that time period, you know, I don't think these Jeeps had power steering. They were a little bit sluggish, so kind of have that emulated. It's nice and open, having the open top on it. But, you know, it's a little bit basic and monochromatic. I know it's a military vehicle, but even like a little bit of shading, like I was talking about before, where the lower parts of the vehicle are a little bit darker than the upper parts to kind of give it a little bit of depth, you know. So drives well, you know, pretty basic, but again, you know, they were basic vehicles. They were mass produced to do a job, you know. And we'll go ahead and reverse back here. And again, if you just change that 0 on the clutch, it all depends on how heavy the vehicle is, how fast it stops. You can change that, and it will keep it from trying to do that restart. I'll go ahead and we'll put on the handbrake. So pretty cool vehicle, pretty basic on its detailing. You know, I think a little bit more work on some of that detailing would be nice. Like just something like a little bit of louvering or something around the tires. Help, as you can see, it's just like a big green area. A little bit of detailing with the U.S. Army. But that's about it. You know, it doesn't have a ton of detail. License plates there, but really pretty limited on detailing. But cool build, and thanks for submitting. And the next build is the 1958 Cadillac Coupe Deville. So nice thumbnail here. I believe this is the second thumbnail. I did see the first thumbnail, so they were equally detailed. So Cadillac Coupe Deville, framed out, nice, has you know, some good detailing on this 1-to-1 scale. It's always nice to see a 1-to-1 scale. You know, Mr. G did a 1-to-1 scale. This 1-to-1 scale, that's tough to do. It's challenging. It requires a bunch of work to do. So that's some effort to do that. Let's go ahead and take a look at some pictures. Some nice pictures here. You know, showcasing the build. So definitely some chances with this one. This is one of the more difficult ones. You know, they used to put fins and everything else on these 1950s cars. So really cool attempt on that. Roknmatoz is who made this. So let's see, description: all the luxury and then some. It's every inch of Cadillac with all the luxury, security, elegance you'd expect and more, with an engine and transmission provided by Cockrell Engineering. It's a Pat Motors engine. It runs like a dream. Demand for excellent, demand for style, demand for a Cadillac. The car was made for a Captain Cockrell's Build Challenge Echo. This challenge is to build a 1950s car truck that is land-based challenge. The competition is mainly aesthetics. The competitor will use either the car truck chassis or released at the workshop. This will allow the competitor to focus on the look of the vehicle. The mechanics will be stock. Nice. There we go. We have linkages there. So car and truck chassis. Again, to credit the people who are making these things. Here ride America's most loyal owners. More Cadillac drivers stay with the Cadillac than any other car built. Land now for 1958. I like the little white outing in there. Cadillac provides more driving pleasure than ever before. There is new interior luxury surpassing any Cadillac of the past. New variable ratio power steering and many important improvements in suspension, chassis, handling, and acoustics make the 58 Cadillac even quicker and easier to drive. Visit your authorized dealer soon and see for yourself behind the wheel. Now elegance, new elegance, new excellence, new excitement. Cadillac, 1966. You didn't cover this one up. Choice seat for a memorable command performance. This is a good time to ask your Cadillac dealer for a command performance, an opportunity to take the wheel of the elegant 1968 Cadillac and experience a little bit more white out there. Responsiveness of the largest, smoothest V8 engine, V6, or flat 6 engine ever to produce a production passenger car. You will also enjoy Cadillac's quiet comfort and convenience of its many power assists. A command performance test drive is yours for the asking, standard of the world. Instructions: get in the whip. Press button 6, ball. Features 240 kph top speed, 150 miles an hour, 178.88 liters of fuel. Controls WSAD, up, down. 6 is the engine, 4 is the parking brake. Credits at Captain Cockrell for the engine transmission. Rate, favorite, share. So nice to see credit on there. Nice workshop page. So very cool. So let's go ahead and take a look at the build. All right, so let's go and take a look at this boat here. So we have the Cadillac Coupe Deville. So they used to call these boats because they're enormous. So really a lot of cool XML detailing on here. You know, this has some really good XML detail on it. XMLs, I would say it's hit or miss. Sometimes it looks really garish. Sometimes it all comes together. This comes together really well, I think. You know, and it's tough. You look here. I like the rockets going into the lamps, just like on Mr. G's as well. These, you know, angle forward. The lamps angle forward. That's very much Cadillac. Coupe de Ville on there. You know, Cadillac, you know, thought that the more crap you threw on there at some sort of right angle was worth more money, so they could try to milk people out of money. But you know, this looks really good. Good coloration in here. You know, bumper looks nice and chunky, yet it conforms nicely. So the XML looks really good on this so far. You know, again, you know, word to the devs here. You know, so many of us are looking for thinner roofs. Give us some parts, man. You know, so we don't have to do all this. The fins look a little bit weird, but again, you're kind of working with what you have. Personally, what I would do is I would have put in like a triangle, a vert triangle. Are these threes or twos? Unfortunately, these are twos. It's hard with twos to get those in there. But you know, roof line looks pretty good, as you can see. This has a little bit better of a roof line than Mr. G's, I'd say, just because it doesn't stick over. This is facing the other way. But you know, roof line looks pretty good. Again, everybody wants these thinner roofs, Debs, so please give us some parts. Like even here, we have a little bit of strake there going in. You know, so did a good job with the fins on there. Let's go ahead and I think there's a key here. I'm trying to find it. It's there's. So the most spacious of trunks. Not getting any bodies in there. You might be able to put your a little bit of mail in there. But minimal trunk, you know, I am pushing it, so again, it's starting off. But like, you know, this is where XMLing can be a challenge and where XMLing can be tough. You know, I think they had wheel covers in the DeVille, you know, so kind of wheel coverings on there. But you know, it's a challenge and it's a risk. Some of this XMLing, does it look goofy or does it look good? But this is some really good XML detailing in there. All right, so let's go ahead. Is there any sort of door latch right there? You know, not too much flashing on the outside, but you know, like this flashing's fine, it's hidden by the door, but you know, that's kind of the difference between some good XMLing and sometimes some bad. Like a little bit of flashing there, but it's not too distracting. Emulating the bench seat. So these had bench seats, so did a good job emulating the bench seats, widening the rears and widening the front here, even going through the regular driver's seat. You know, I wish we could get rid of those driver's seats and go to, you know, have some benches and twos we could run. That would give us more stuff. So speed, kilometers an hour. Fuel, we have headlights. It'd be good to put the units in there. I know it's liters, but it would be good to have units. So headlights. Again, this is the second time I've seen this. It's either the channel or it's because they're XML'd that the lights are cockeyed. So that's an issue. If you're going to XML the lights, you may run into this problem where they're not functional like this. Fog lights, so keep an eye on that. Fogs are down there, okay. Linear speed sensor down there. We have a parking brake. We'll stick that on for now. All right, the shift gears up, down. Parking brake is 4. Let's see, does it? Okay, so it controls that as well. 6 to start, stop engine. All right, and we'll shift up. Let's check brakes. Ooh, that's bright. Don't want to look right at that. Brake lights are on there. So Let me check running lights. I don't think we had runnings. I don't think we're gonna have runnings, but yeah, those lights are weird because of that. So you know, again, that's a risk with XMLing. You know, I'm curious if you could put a second lamp behind these and then shine through them. If you could then run them normal. So that's a thought as well. But that's one of the risks with XML in it. So let's go ahead and get driving. Ooh, wowza. So this is driving a little bit weird for me here. Let me go back here. Let me see what the wheels are doing here. Are they rubbing on something? So this is driving a little bit funky and a little bit weird. Like the steering's a little bit sensitive. I would say the likelihood you are able to actually make a Cadillac do a donut is probably slim. They were so heavy. But wow, this unfortunately this is the kind of a letdown. Is it's just like this is me going AD. It is just super choppy. The steering, it's like super over responsive. You know, so that's unfortunate. The handling's not great on that. It's like, you know, imagine if you're actually going to drive this long way down a road, and it's like, it would kind of make you nauseous, kind of like I have to tap, you know, like mine, I can kind of hold for a second, generally. So it's a little bit twitchy. Like, this is me just hitting A, D, A, D, A. So, you know, it's very twitchy on the steering, so I would work on that steering a little, put a steering controller in there. Like I run a 20% on my seats generally with a steering controller. Let's back it up. Yeah, see, it's very twitchy. Very, very twitchy. Oh my God, it's twitchy. Yeah, like see there, like you could see how some of the other cars I was able to back straight down the row. So unfortunately, I lose a little bit in handling there. It looks gorgeous, but it's having a lot of handling problems. I think there are certainly problems that can be fixed and probably not all that hard. But like this, like I can tell right there, this looks way too sensitive. You know, especially if you're driving long distance, I would put a steering controller on there. You know, that's my favorite way to do it. It's so you're setting the angular speed you want to do a turn at, and it's very controllable. You can do nice drifts and controllable, and the roads are tough in Stormworks, and so you don't want to make it tougher by spinning yourself out. So really cool vehicle, looks beautiful, good XML work on there. Really enjoy it. You know, the trunk sacrificed a little bit. The mobsters wouldn't want this. There's no place for bodies. But really great build, and I enjoyed checking it out. Here are all the builds from the Build Challenge Echo. So we're going to go over who made each one, and then I'm going to announce the winners. The first build is the Ford CCC F3 by Citrus. The next build is the Volvo L385 Viking by Cheesecake. The next build is the Corvette C1 by Mr. G. The next build is the DIM 200 Senator by Thermite. The next build is the Ford Truck by Nivelasco. The next build is the 1950 Rooster MDHT by Chicken Soar. We have the MBT Troop Carrier by CG. The Morris MR-A1 by Ludazal. The Dodge Power Wagon by Vanders. The Two Palms C.V.H. by Sherman. The Jaguar XK140 by Muffin. The Dodge M37 by Nave 303. The British Army Truck by Seeney. The M53 Scout by Frongus. And the last build is the 1958 Cadillac Coupe Deville by Roknmatoz. And our first winner is points. And for points, we have a two-way tie between the Dodge Power Wagon by Vanders and the Rooster MDHT by Chicken Soar. One of these builds is my favorite as well, so we'll be able to break the tie with my favorite. My favorite for this challenge Echo is going to be the Rooster MDHT by Chicken Soar. And the points winner is the Dodge Power Wagon by Vanders. There are a lot of ties in this challenge. I believe we had 2 for first, and we had 4 tied for second place for the points. Congratulations to Vanders and Chicken Soar. And the last winner is determined by the community. You'll have about a week after this video airs to go onto the Discord and vote for your favorite build of the Build Challenge Echo. So please test out the builds and cast your vote for who is your favorite. A special thanks to everybody who participated in the Build Challenge Echo. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.